What's going on, everybody? So I am rearranging my studio and I don't really have the time to record a proper video, with all the editing and stuff like that. So I decided, hey, let's kind of go live and just shoot this video answering a question that I get a lot from you guys. What the hell do all of those racks do? And I'll tell you, it's actually a very simple rig and it's a fairly cheap rig that makes my sound so much better. It makes me happy every time I use it. So anyway, guys, welcome to a new video and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything music from death metal to Queen and everything in between. So today, like I said, I'll show you my recording rig. This is probably going to be a tough video to record by myself, but I'm gonna do my best. So let's check it out. Let's zoom in and let me show you what I've got. Alright, so here we go. This is actually a condensed version of what I used to use, but it works perfect. And I've actually managed to plug everything in that you see here without a patch bay, which was not easy, but it saves me the hassle to work with a lot of cables. So here we go. Of course, keyboard and mouse, we're gonna get this out of the way. First of all, I have the digital piano, which is a Casio, really awesome. If you're a producer, you need to have a piano. You need to have keys in front of you at all times. Even if you don't use them, they're an amazing tool for producing and for teaching as well, and of course for arranging. So I definitely recommend that you have one. You don't have to have one of these guys. You can just have a MIDI controller and just run it through Logic, Pro Tools, whatever it is that you use. But you should definitely have some sort of keyboard. Other than that, I actually have this for programming drums in, and it's very handy. And I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 modules here. So the first one on the top left is the Monster Power conditioning strip. So everything that you see is actually plugged into that directly. So, if anything happens, power-wise, like if the lights go out or anything like that, it's not really a surge, but that'll protect it. And it also conditions the power, so you actually get a lot less power noise into all of the gear. Okay, so the second one down, the one here, that is my Moto interface. That's actually the original Moto Traveler, which has just enough inputs and outputs for me to wire everything in here. So that's perfect. I love that thing. It's fairly cheap. I mean, you can get it online for like 300 bucks, 200 bucks, you name it. Now, the one problem I had to run into now is the fact that, it's Firewire. So at this point, it's kind of outdated and there's no more drivers for it. So you might have an issue with it on Windows and some of the newer Macs. The one below that is the BBE 482i Sonic Maximizer, which is basically a stereo exciter. I love that thing. It makes your audio sound crisp, and it also gives you bottom end if you need it. And the fact that it's stereo, you can actually have a little bit more brightness on one side, like on the left side, than the right side. And that gives you even more of a stereo image sound. So I love that. Now below that, that is the Ampeg SVP BSP preamp. That is the Billy Sheehan bass preamp. Another thing I really love, it's also stereo, so you actually get 2 channels, so you can plug in your bass and record 2 different signals at the same time. You've got a clean channel, then you've got an overdrive channel, and then you can actually blend them as well and send them into the one track if you want to do that. But the way I do it is I do both tracks. I do a clean track, I do a distortion track, and then I mix and blend on post. Awesome sound. Now we get to the right. Now the one on the top right is the Universal Audio UA-LA610 Mark II. Just a tube preamp and an optical compressor. So you get the 610 tube amplifier on the left side, and then you actually get a T4 optical compressor on the right side. And we can actually use the left side only or the right side only, or obviously both. So if I use the left side only, I can get some of that nice warm, tube sound, that nice tube saturation, that warmth from a guitar or maybe even a bass. And you also use that on vocals. And then on the right side, we have the compressor. So I can actually add some, parallel compression, or I can compress the sound before it goes into Logic. So the way I have it set up is that it actually goes into an input on the Moto, but it also comes out of an output straight into that. So I can actually send in, signal from, a guitar into the Universal Audio unit and then into Logic, or I can come out of Logic from something that's already been recorded and then run it through the compressor and then back in. So that's really useful. It's really awesome. I love it. I use it for mastering as well. A lot of the stuff I actually use for mastering. I use that for mastering, and I use the BBE, which is one of my favorite mastering tools because, you just give it a little bit and it does a lot. Then below that, we have the Lexicon MX200, which is an audio processor, and Lexicon is very well known for reverbs and delays and stuff like that, which this does great. It sounds amazing. It's also stereo, so you get a lot of stereo image. You can plug in a guitar mono and then just run it through this, and it becomes stereo and huge. But you also get some more effects, like you do get chorus and flanger and phaser, tremolo, a rotary, which sounds like a Leslie amplifier, so you can get those awesome Pink Floyd sounds. Very handy. And then below that we have the Headamp 6 Pro, which is a headphone amplifier that I can plug in 6 different headphones to, so that if somebody's recording vocals, for instance, and we don't want, the monitors to come in through the mic, we all just put on some headphones and we can all listen to whatever's being recorded in real time. So yeah, that's basically all I have here, all that you can see. I also have behind me right here on this side, which you can see, it's out of the frame now. So let me just move it. So now on this side, you can see I've got a couple of guitars. I've got my Gibson, which is the one you pretty much see all the time on the channel. I also have a Kramer, which I was kind of hoping to sell, but I pulled it out of the case, I started playing, and I was like, I can't sell this. I love it too much. So yeah, you got that Kramer, which is tuned to standard. So is that. And there's some more guitars right behind me. But this is the amplifier slash, pedal rig. So whenever I want to play like completely analog and I just want to record like an amplifier or a cabinet, this is what I use. I've got the SM57 plugged into the back of the LA610, which I just showed you. And that's going straight into Logic, so I can mic up a cabinet. Like right now, I've got the Marshall cabinet mic'd up. And I tend to prefer, for some reason, the top left speaker. So that's the one that's mic'd up. And as far as amplifiers go, I actually have a Mesa Boogie triple rectifier, which I barely use because that thing is loud at 0. At 1 is ridiculous. There's also the Line 6 Bogner. I forgot the exact name. I think it's HD100 Spider Bob head, and that one is really good actually. A lot of people tend to talk crap about Line 6, and I get it, but that one sounds really good, especially when you change the speakers on it. The stock speakers are not that great. Same applies to some of the combos. Then on top of that, we have the EVH and the Vox Nitrain. The EVH is a 5153 15 watt, I believe, LBX, I think. The cleans sound amazing. Like, a lot of people don't even try the cleans. The cleans sound awesome on that, and the overdrive is amazing. And then the distortion, of course, is really good, but I really prefer it if I push it with a TS9 or a TS9DX. That's when it really comes alive, if you ask me. Of course, the Vox Nitrain for those, overdrive tones is amazing. Sometimes you want that Vox AC30 sound, but you want a little bit more distortion. That's what you get right there. Awesome stuff. Then I do have a different cabinet. I have a Mesa oversized 4x12, and I do have a 5153 cab that's a 112. I don't remember what speakers in it, but it sounds really good, and it's a lot lower in volume than the other two, so it's really handy to have sometimes. And then on top of that, I actually have 2 solid state mini heads, which sound really good for the price and the size and the money. Dude, you can't go wrong. One of them is a Friedman, the other one is a Soldano. So the Friedman is a BE Mini, and it sounds very, very much like a Friedman. If you're not familiar with it, it sounds very much like a Marshall. It's got sort of a JCM 800 kind of sound, that distortion, that very nasally distortion. And then the Soldano is an SLO Mini, which is modeled after the SLO, which it doesn't really sound like an SLO. I mean, let's be serious. But it sounds really good. I mean, it's voiced very nice. And then, of course, the granddaddy of them all, the AC30, which is one of my favorite amplifiers ever. I rarely get to play it because, for you to get distortion out of it or like a lot of gain, you really need to crank that bitch up. And it's loud. So yeah, I rarely get to play it. So yeah, this is basically my rig right now. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Please let me know if you did. Please drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Of course, don't forget to drop me a like. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel like a man if you haven't yet. And if you really enjoy the content and you want to help me out big time, please make sure you visit my Patreon. A little goes a long way. I surely do appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Pat out, metal on, dudes.